morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Welcome back to Faith Family Focus. I am one of your co-hosts, Faith Suggs, former Duke women's basketball graduate, founder of Brand by Faith, and marketing manager for SIG Sports with NIL Division. This wonderful man next to me is my father, Schaefer Suggs, former NFL player with the New York Jets and the Cincinnati Bengals, Jets, and has also served on the VP and the executive board with the RPFPC, also known as the charitable arm of the NFLPA Chicago. Good morning, Dad. How are you? Well,
so that sound that you made regarding the New York Jets, and not only did they end the season bad, but they did end it bad enough to get the first round draft pick for next year.
Yeah.
The Bears did.
The Bears got it. Wait, I thought
the Bears.
Yes, the Bears got it. I don't know. They lost or beat the Texans.
The Texans won to not only is Lovey got to get fired, but he also
he's fired. He's fired. He's done. They fired him last night around 11 o'clock.
He did? Okay.
Yeah, he's done. Unfortunately, they're receiving a lot of criticism about it too.
You're ahead of me. Good morning. Good morning. Beautiful morning here in Chicago.
It is.
To be back live. Again, I know there's so much to catch up on. I'm going to let you take it away. My God.
100%. So, yes, a little bit of NFL. NFL, basically, we're nearing Super Bowl Sunday. What, we're 3 weeks away? 2 weeks away?
Back up. We have to. There's one big topic. There's a big game tonight that we haven't talked about. Who do you have, Georgia, or do you have TCU?
My house is apparently we're supposed to go for the Big 12. But Georgia, come on. I don't know. I really do like how TCU plays. I really do. But Georgia comes from the SEC.
Right.
And so as someone who hasn't really dove into the statistics, how the matchups look, I'm gonna go with SEC every day.
Okay. So you gotta go with Georgia.
I would not be surprised, like nowhere near surprised, if TCU was able to like stun everybody though, because I have watched their games and I watched their Big 12 championship game.
Yeah, they've been playing good. Well, they won it by the skin of their teeth, but they're playing good football. I think
they didn't win that.
I just wanted to be a good game.
They didn't win the Big 12 championship.
Oh, they lost, didn't they? They lost. Yes.
I know that they lost to Kansas State.
That's right.
But so which makes it feel like more and more like, okay, I don't know. But K-State also was decent. So it's I mean, they played Alabama. It's not really fair.
Well, I wanted to pivot back to that before. That's sort of a big game. When you add a team like TCU and it's not Michigan, Ohio State, for some reason the game doesn't seem as popular. So you have a team that normally traditionally is not in it. So your Alabama is not there. Your Ohio State's not there. So you have Georgia. So this may be a huge upset. I would love to see that game come down to the wire. So I just wanted to make sure we talked a little bit about the national championship game tonight before we pivot back.
I don't know. Okay, so break it down for me again. How on earth they choose who's the national championship?
So they have 8 teams right now. Well, actually 4 teams. But in 2025, they're going to go to 12 teams. So I think I'm going to like that format. So basically they're saying that there's 12 teams at large will be in the championship round, similar to basketball. Basketball has 64. I think what they're going to have to do in the front end of the season is cut down on a couple of the games on the front end of the season. Because you don't want the college players end up playing 16 games or 15 games. Right now they're playing 10 to 12 games right now.
So it's similar to the conversation around right now. We already expanded March Madness to 64 teams. I want to say it's in the 60s.
Oh, it's 64,
and they're discussing expanding again for this upcoming March Madness and following. So it's almost like we're becoming so much more inclusive in competition.
Right.
For the smaller schools to sneak in there. It's just the only problem is they did this last year in the March Madness. thinking that, you know, you'll get like the UMBC, remember that run, and the Loyola, that run, like thinking that that'll become the Cinderella story, but unfortunately that didn't happen. So I'm interested to see if they stick to with those, keep expanding, so that other conferences can try to get their opportunity, but which I understand, but we got to look at the point overall of it.
Right.
NFL, the draft picks came out. The first 18 draft picks for the 2023 NFL draft came out. Bears, like we said, are at number 1 after last night's loss, which they might have thrown. I'm not going to throw any allegations out there, but I understand.
No, Bears. You talk about the Texans, but the Bears don't really. So what's gonna, what the Bears are gonna do with that trip? I don't want to spend too much time on the Bears in the first round draft pick, but they're gonna trade that pick. They don't need that pick. They need to trade that pick for another offensive weapon or some better defense. They have a quarterback. They're a great quarterback. I think they should take that one. What's that?
Great.
I think he's great. I think he has potentially. His upside is pretty good. I mean, if he can stay healthy, I mean, he's very versatile. I would love to have him with the Jets. And here's the Jets that don't have a quarterback, and unfortunately, the 2 quarterbacks that they got rid of, Sam Darnold and Geno Smith, are playing well, good football. 2 previous first-round draft picks that they traded away. So
yeah, they're at the 13th pick, right before the Patriots at 14.
Right. Okay.
Panthers, Eagles, Titans are 9, 10, 11. But your 1 through 8 are, I don't know who's 3. But the Arizona Cardinals at 3, Colts at 4, Seahawks at 5, Texans are at 2. Texans have 2 first round draft picks at 2 and 18. But Detroit Lions, Las Vegas Raiders, and I think the Raiders are in a good spot. I really think we're gonna have a Super Bowl with the Raiders very soon. I don't know if it's this year. I definitely don't think it's this year. But I think it's going to be soon.
Right.
They're trending. As an organization, they're trending. As talent-wise, they're trending. As a coaching staff, they're trending. As facilities and what they're trying to bring to the city, that's trending. We just watched Las Vegas Aces do this for the WNBA. So I really think that there's a lot of stuff moving over in Las Vegas.
Right. Hey, Faith, I know that we did talk about it, but I think it's something we did touch on is DeMar Hamlin and how that happened. We didn't get a chance to have a live show last week, but I don't know if you know this, how much it resonated. But the last time I played for the Jets, the actual last play with the Jets was against the Colts, and I was taken off on a stretcher because I punctured my rib cage, and they thought you didn't even know that, did you?
Well, my thing is this: 1, it's another thing. This is why we do this,
right?
And 2, because I don't think people realize. And I have seen and helped Devin put on his shoulder pads more times than I can remember. That chest plate right here, how far does it go down? The thing that
it goes down right to the bottom of your sternum. Your sternum, right? And it covers it, But let me tell you what happened. So I went for a tackle, and the receiver ducked, and I actually went over him. So my body actually folded. I did a complete somersault. My body folded, and it pulled the cartilage off my rib cage, and I couldn't breathe. But my point is, my last play with the New York Jets was taken off on a stretcher like that, and I never really talked too much about that. But the reality is that was my last NFL play. I played with the Canadian Football League and New Jersey Generals, and I shared that in my presentation on Saturday with the Dick Factor. And what went through my mind when I saw that, when obviously his injury was his was a lot more serious because his heart beat, but it just resonated with me, and I just wanted to just talk a little bit about how much support, how wonderful the support was, not only in the NFL football fraternity, but the whole world just stepped up and really supported that kid. It was just a miracle, and just to me, it just tells us, those people from the outside looking in, don't really understand how fragile our careers are, and how much it can impact, and how things can just change on a dime on the football field.
Yeah.
It was just a powerful story. Now to see him tweeting right now, to see him, his first question was, did the Buffalo Bills win? Just such heartfelt. This really, I was in tears most of those 2 days because of the possibility of him not coming back from that, and to see that miraculous turnaround was just something that I just wanted to just kind of really briefly talk about.
No, I think that it's we have had, and this is going to seem not on topic, but it's going to seem really on topic. And here's a picture I found from the other day, this recent game.
Oh wow, that's great! I never saw that. Yeah, that's
with mom and dad in the hospital. But we were watching NC State women play Virginia women in Raleigh yesterday. 5 minutes. Girl runs for a rebound and lands, and it almost looks like her leg slips, and her leg didn't slip. Her leg from the kneecap down broke to the right. So when we were looking at it, because we still couldn't figure out why she was down, and then you look at her leg, and you know how they're supposed to be like this, and one of them was like this.
Right.
And the whole place went silent. And all you could hear is her labored breathing and just screaming, "Help me." And the place was silent. And it's like because we broadcast and we film and we can capture things now in modern day society with cameras, and it's wonderful with HD and 4K. We have seen how many just traumatizing injuries to people, right? Like with Kevin Ware, we saw Gordon Hayward.
The kid from Louisville. Remember that one? That was probably the worst. Yeah.
Kevin Ware with the shin fracture. Yeah. And then we had Gordon Hayward, whose ankle went this way and was just sitting like this.
Joe Theismann back in the day.
Like we had this experience with Damar Hamlin, and it's just like we keep filming and we keep watching, because then we get so involved, right? Like, and we're just traumatized because we're just like, sports are so transparent and so transcending across communities. You know what I mean? Like, everybody knows somebody who plays football. Everybody knows somebody who at least played in the NFL. Everybody knows somebody whose son plays football, flag football, right? So everybody was just like blown away because they immediately became personal. And I think that was what's brought the overwhelming support and just overall concern for it. I think for me, it's also the conversation, like, we are extremely desensitized it towards stuff like this, right? They kept playing. I can't remember. We turned the game off yesterday because after hearing it was so quiet in that gym, and you could hear her breathing and screaming, "Help me." And I was just like, and then they played the clip over and over and over and over. And I was like, oh my God, how many times
don't do that anymore? I don't know why they continue to do that.
On ACC Network. I was like, I don't know why you guys keep showing us her leg go from here to here, right? Like, in our normal world, we don't see that. Doctors see that. Trainers see that. We don't need to see that. And we just kept seeing it. We kept watching the clips of the football players were standing around him on the field. Yes, to show support, but you know why? For privacy. Yeah. Because it was just, if we had actually saw what was going on within that huddle, it would have it would have been too much for us. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it just was, oh my God, that no wonder it completely pulled people in, because it was just real.
Right.
It was real. And what I do think is the only great thing that came out of it was the fact that I was like, does everybody know how to do CPR? Do we know how to have immediate first aid reactionary?
Yeah,
right?
Well, the heroes were the paramedics on that field.
Athletic trainers.
and the athletic trainer who just did a remarkable job of saving his life. And so the whole, I thought it was a miracle, and just to see something. And I tell you what, I cannot tell you what went through my soul, my mind, because that could have easily been me in terms of the amount of hits and contacts that I experienced in my career. You watch it, and people I've heard. You always hear the very insensitive comments that we sign up for, right? And the reality is that's somebody's son, somebody's friend, somebody's
somebody's
spouse, right? And but with all the other over the past 2 years, the divisiveness and all the really negative stuff around social media, it was really warm to see how collectively as a society we all got behind the support of him. It was wonderful. It was really nice to see. And maybe people will get another level of respect for those guys who played that game. And they never signed for it, but it could be a life-changing day for, like I said, the movie, our show that we have, behind the face mask. But I always tell you that with professional football, the transition, it's not like the lights dim out; they just turn completely off immediately, with the exception of people like Tom Brady and some guys. But most guys' careers end up with an injury very similar to that. It may not be that injury, but it'll be that injury that you can never come back to being able to compete at the level that got you into the league. And that's how quick your life can turn. So I just want to touch on that too. And thank you for your comments about it too.
100%. And yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen a lot of, oh God, we've seen this situation happen, and thank God he's alive. We saw the passing of Twitch, who was the partner of Ellen on her show, and he was the dancer, and he was on Dancing with the Stars, and he was with So You Think You Can Dance, and he passed away from suicide this past month as well. He left behind a beautiful family, just had another baby, just walked off and just never came back. And I think we're seeing a lot, right? Social media provides all this information and on-time news and information, and it's overwhelming sometimes, but it's like the accessibility and visibility we have towards positive words and love and all that stuff, that has been so encouraging. So, I mean, this reminded me as well, right? Like, we've been utilizing social media a lot with some of this stuff, and it's been the only positive piece we can take from it.
Well, it kind of leads us into a powerful topic that we want to talk about is, the quality and the quantity of social media out there and how it impacts the algorithms and how it impacts what we see, how we view things.
Yep. And there's one more topic I want to do before we get into that. I wanted to know your perspective on something, but we definitely are. That's exactly what we're talking about today, is the quantity versus quality, and how social media is a tool that is pushing this new narrative that's changing kind of our reality in 2023. I guess the question from me to you, Dad, and I'm very interested to see what you think about this, is Donovan Mitchell just scored 71 points. Luka Doncic just had 60 points and 21 rebounds. Giannis Antetokounmpo had 55 points. Klay Thompson had 54. 22 players in the last 20 on Monday night. 22 players scored at least 25 points across the NBA. Of those 22, 10 recorded at least 30. 5 hit 40. 2 hit 50 plus. The last time someone scored 70 plus since 2000 were 3 people, and Kobe Bryant, Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell. The highest game ever recorded but not documented or on video, obviously, is Wilt Chamberlain's 100 points, so we don't actually know that happened. But do you think One, why do you think the NBA is having an unprecedented amount of high scoring? Is my first question for you. And what do you think about the perspective from Chuck, Shaq, all the older generation saying that the NBA, that's happening because the NBA is getting softer?
They are right. They're right.
You don't play in the NBA?
They're right. They're right in terms of how the game was played back when Michael was played. The physicality of the game was allowed. You were not allowed to score that many points. You were taken down.
Then how did Will Chamberlain score 100 points?
Because he was 8 feet tall and everybody else was 5 feet tall.
People say he didn't exist. I'll allow y'all to keep going.
He existed. Yeah, he would just get the ball. I mean, but the reality is, I'm serious, right? Back when Michael Jordan when I started watching basketball, the physicality of the game and what was actually allowed and tolerated was so much more than what's happening today. I mean, even the fights that were kind of allowed to happen, when Kermit Alexander got hit by Wilt Chamberlain, and Rudy Tomjanovich got hit by Kermit Washington, and Lou Alcindor hit Kent Benson. I mean, those things were norms in a game, right? It was hard to score a lot of points because the game was so much more physical. I mean, look at Michael. So that tells you how great Michael Jordan was, because Michael Jordan scored 50, 60 points in spite of that kind of physicality. But that's what I see. And I think the other aspect of it is the three-point shot. The three-point shot has really redefined the game.
100%.
It's almost a layup now. Except
Giannis, because he doesn't shoot as many. Luka, Donovan.
Kids are learning how to shoot that shot
earlier.
Really. And then the other aspect of it, the ball handling skills that the kids have today is off the chart.
And their footwork is unreal. Like the stuff, but that's because they took the stuff that was taught to their parents, and trainers took the same thing and they reinvented it. They kept adding to it. They said, okay, we did this. Now let's try to do this and add this and then this, right? You saw it as we were going up in training. It just was it's just different, right? Sure. Because we were able to look from back what already happened and say, how can we reinvent and re-evolve the game? How can we make it better? How can I stand out?
So I answered your question. One, the game is not as physical.
Yes. Okay. Not allowed to.
Two, the kids shoot a lot better now. And then three, the ball handling. There's some more skilled players. All right. I mean, I watched Donovan. Donovan is just people. He is one of the greatest basketball players I've seen in the last couple of years. And how some of his moves, his crossover moves are like Tim Hardaway like. Yeah. But he does it faster.
Yeah.
And he has a combination of taking the ball to the hoop almost better and finishing better than anybody I've seen, but then also can stop on a dime and shoot. I mean,
100%. And his game keeps getting better.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then we just saw Jalen Brunson have 38 points. But what the conversation is, like, let me reread those stats to you. This past Monday.
I know. I saw it. Mm-hmm.
We had 22 players score at least 25 points. That's just the minimum. 22 of those had 10 of them had recorded at least 30 or more. 5 hit 40 and 2 hit 50 plus. Easy. It's very interesting. Yes, I do think the NBA has gotten softer because they implemented more rules on how physical you can be. Because at the end of the day, basketball wasn't created to be physical. At the end of the day, it wasn't. It was not created to be physical. We made it physical because, Americans Pistons made physical, but also because we like physicality in this country. Right. Hence why we watch so much American football. But two, it's very interesting the skill level, but players have expanded their skill level. And I think that's something that needs to be mentioned because whatever. Right? Like whatever, the game has gotten softer because they've allowed it to become softer. But it's also the idea is defenders had to get more strategic because how the heck do you wake up and the coach says, keep Luka Doncic off the board and he had just 21 rebounds. Like, there's a reason he's having it because Luka Doncic is how tall and he's doing what? Yeah, they have to go out there and stare Giannis in the face, in the chest.
He's handling
You
the
know what I
ball.
mean?
Well, he's trying to handle the ball like a guard.
He actually does okay. I think for someone who just started playing basketball in what 8th grade, I think he does pretty well for it.
Right.
But I think then you have LeBron James, right? And let's be real, this is the effect of LeBron James. This is the effect of the international game coming to the NBA. We're becoming more skilled, like you said, but all around skilled from 1 through 5. And also defenders, I mean, I think they're doing the best they can, but it's kind of like, what do we do? So I think that the game is at the and we had this conversation before. I think, yeah. The rules have become stricter on how physical the game can be. That's because they're making a lot more money. But also the skill level is something we've never seen before. Right. And it's just kind of like from 1 through 5. And so it's very, very interesting to see where it's going to go from here. Yeah. And where, I mean, 10 years from now, what is the game going to look like? Right. Then 20 years.
I'm watching. So if you reel back, because there's so much highlights out there. Younger kids now. I'm watching even younger kids.
Yeah.
And watching their reels. Everybody's obviously, doing their reels, and they're publicizing their the social media, and they're I mean, it's just phenomenal what some of these kids are doing at an early age. Some of the ball handling skills and some of the way they shoot, but
they're
yeah.
Mm-hmm. They're fit. I mean, if you've ever watched, take time to really look at how Kyrie Irving can finish layups.
Oh, yeah, he's something else.
He practices every spot on the glass, the top right corner where you almost go over the glass, like just stuff like that. They're trying different things, and it's beautiful. And they're changing the game for better, right? Like it's getting more creative. Steph Curry, they're gonna have to make a 4-point line soon. Like, they might. We've already tried it in the All-Star game, right? They might try, and it wouldn't be surprising because have you seen how far that man shoots?
Well, you know what? Let me share something with you. The reason you guys, I'm going to take all back to high school, Bennett Academy. They win their games on 3-point shots. They have a multitude of girls that shoot 3-point shots on a consistent basis. I watched them play this year, and that's happening at a very early age right now.
The game's going to continue to change. Yeah. And we can't, and I think it's fine. Yeah, we can keep leaning on the idea that we make it a softer league because of the rules we're in. What's considered a flagrant one in today's society is nowhere near what was considered a flagrant one in that. But did it have to be? Did we have to? But that's the other thing. Why did hypermasculinity always got to come into the conversation? Why does tough guy have to be the topic of the conversation?
I think because
that's men.
Because I knew that if I could intimidate my receiver, I had him thinking about me. I knew it altered his mindset.
Imagine that. Let's dive deeper into that. That was you guys' mindset. You also took that to the real world. In today's society, now they're thinking, how can I outskill the defender to make him look stupid? And now that's also transitioning into reality. So I think it's funny. It's not just, sports always goes hand in hand with where life is at currently. And I think men, this generation of men are also unique in that way too. But they're also hyper masculine. Let's not get over it. So but no, I thought it was really funny that we died that that connection was made again. But what we were talking about and what we're going to talk about today is the Quanity. You and I were having a conversation yesterday or 3 days ago about social media. And in today's society, we have millennials, and then we have Generation Z. The cutoff is at 1996. If you're born 1996 and down to like beginning of the 80s or late 70s, you're millennial. And then from 97 to current society, you are a Gen Z. And we had a great show talking about how great Gen Z is and millennials are, and they're pushing the narrative in politics and spirituality and music and pop culture. And they're pushing. They actually had a big hand in the voting this year. But I saw a video, and I don't know if everybody knows. Actually, I'm going to find it. With Harvard men's football, Harvard men's football. It's on social media, and they do this trend where they when the guys are coming out of the locker room, they do like they hold up a sign, right? And they like finish the lyrics. So it'd be like, I don't know what your generation will listen to, but it would be like something.
Earth, Wind, and
Fire.
Yeah.
And you guys would have finish. They would have the lyrics, and then it would go into a boom. That's what the next lyric is. No, they might have taken the video down because it was that bad. Yeah, they did. Smart. So very smart, Harvard. And Yale did it as well. We saw Yale do it. But the song was, and this is a song that came around when I was younger, is We Fly High. It was a basketball song. We fly high, no lie, and we know this. And then you go ball in and you hold the follow through, right? And that's a song. Everybody knows the song, okay? It's a very simple song. They played it everywhere. Like if you were born within 2007 and down, you should know the song. Only one kid knew the song. Now, I know it's Harvard, right? And I'm not saying anything about it, but I do know that they're elevated brains. So I know my brother, so I know he's an exception. He would know that song. They all came out and they said, oh, I have no idea. I don't know. And it was a conversation about, no wonder you don't know. Because I think the youngest kids there would have been born in 2004, which is crazy. Right? Freshmen in college could be 2004 right now. They were born in 2004. My brother's going to be a senior. He was born in 2001. How do I say this? It's not their fault. And the reason it's not their fault, they don't know what happened in pop culture, in news, in history, before they landed on this earth. Okay? And that's not their fault. Social media allows them to not have access to everything, right? Only access to the things that they like, only access to the things that they know, only access to the things that have always been in their bubble, right? And that's because of the algorithm. The algorithm takes what you like, what you comment on, what you send, it keeps it in front of you every single day. So if you're a big Pokemon, they don't even know what Pokemon is. If you're a big 2K person, NBA 2K video games, all you're going to see is NBA 2K live on your Instagram. If you're a big Drake fan, all you're going to see is Drake. If you're a big podcast fan, all you're going to see is podcasts, right? Every single day until you decide all of a sudden be like, let me throw it off. Let me go like something about Joe Biden. Then all of a sudden you're going to start seeing Joe Biden stuff, right? Funny. Sleepy Joe, but it's all this content is structured. No, Joe Biden on social media is mad funny, but there's always all these things that keep you in your bubble. But my generation, right, and I'm right split in the middle where Gen Z and millennials hit. We know because we watch TV. Right. And that's how we learn things. Right. Social media came like later on. MySpace started first. I was in like late elementary school. Social media started around middle school. Instagram. We knew what was going on. We tuned in at 7 o'clock. And this sounds so young to you, but it's blasphemy to them that we tuned in at 7 o'clock and watched the movie on Friday night on Disney Channel. We watched MTV, and that's how we saw the music videos. That's how we were put on the songs, right? We were learning things in live time, but not whenever we wanted. An album can be dropped now. Adele, let's use Adele as an example. Adele has had record-breaking top 10 Billboard #1 albums for every single album she's released. The recent one, her long-awaited return back to the music world, had the lowest numbers ever before. Why? People don't buy albums anymore. And when things are released, we don't have to get to them until we want to get to them, right? We know it's always going to be accessible. So it's a conversation of quality over quality. And is it good for society? Our generation knew about LL Cool J. We knew about Michael Jackson. We knew about Earth, Wind, and Fire. We knew because of our parents, but also because we were forced to know. Why were we 4 years old, 5 years old, crying over Michael Jackson's passing? We had no idea the effect of Michael Jackson. By the time we came into the world, he already owed 4 lions. You know what I mean? Like, your version of Michael Jackson was Michael Jackson, Jackson 5, talent. And then you had, Michael Jackson. We had Michael Jackson, but we still had access to all of that. And we wanted to learn it, and we took it in. We broadened our mind with everything different. Because of social media, you have a choice. You have all of this information, right, that you want, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be quality information. So it's you actually, if you ever have a conversation with Generation Z, see if they know anything. And I know that it sounds bad, and they're not smart. They're actually very aware about a lot of things. But if it came before them, it's just, and I'm gonna find that bowling video. It's bad. But what do you think about all of it?
Well, I had a lot after we spoke about it, and the reason it was brought up because I was speaking with a group of millennial and Generation Z, the other night, and I wanted to make sure that I was able to connect with them. And you brought this topic up. I didn't actually talk about it. I didn't want to get too deep into the weeds with it, but part of the purpose of that networking event is building your brand and how important social media is, because social media is a powerful tool, right? But it's just interesting how it impacts maybe their motivational drive, their self-esteem, their confidence, their self-love, their mental health. How does it? And if they only have a very narrow scope of what's out there in terms of, how they can navigate to stuff or out of stuff, how they can navigate into how they can win better in life versus then how they can actually navigate out of the darkness of their life too. And if they only have a limited view on that, then it can be detrimental. Okay, so yeah.
I found the video.
Are you gonna play it?
I'll play it. I just want to type. It is detrimental when you don't know what happened before what happened, right? And I think that because we had this conversation already, is we have so much quantity of information coming through because of social media, because everything is trying to move faster than the other platform, right? Instagram's trying to beat TikTok, TikTok's trying to beat Twitter, Apple News is trying to beat New York Times, right? We have all these different outlets that are like moving, right? The news cycle is constantly turning over. Like, if you honestly have something scandalous happen, you kind of have hopes that within 13 minutes, something more scandalous is going to happen and just push your news aside. We have that much information coming out in today's society. So this was put out by, originally was, I can't, let's see if I can share my screen. Interesting. For some reason. Oh, wait, here it is. Okay, so this was out by, this was put out by Harvard Football on Instagram, but here's their Twitter. And this is can you see it? So the song is "We Fly High, No Lie," and you know this. Ballin'. Very simple line. You don't have to know the rest of the song, but everybody knows the song.
You know this. I don't know what that is.
I don't know lyrics.
I have no idea what song that is. Yeah, we fly high. No lie, you know this.
That's not the lyrics.
I'm the coldest. Call me. Oh, no, that's all.
That's not the lyrics.
Oh, man.
He knew. One.
No, nobody knows. Nobody knows. That's not even a real song. Come on.
The kids that do, right?
It's not a real song. You know this.
It's not a real song.
You know this. Nobody got bumped. Somebody give an answer. We fly high, no lie. You know this. Ballin'.
So 4 players.
4 players. And yes, demographically aligned. But at that one point, no, Dad, listen, at one point, this is going to sound like I'm freaking Martin Luther King. My Asian American, my Indian American, my Indigenous American, my Caucasian American. Everybody in the gym, in the party, in the mall, in wherever you were, this song played. Everybody knew. Ballin' was it what comes after that lyric. One of the kids said, African American child, he said, "This isn't even a real song. What's going on, Dad? What's going on?" That's like them not knowing. But I bet you if we play Earth, Wind, and Fire September, they don't know that song either. Because they don't have the same access we did to what happened before, right? Like these are the same kids who probably would say Michael Jackson and Chris Brown. They'll pick Chris Brown over Michael Jackson. And our generation will be like, well, I have peers who believe that as well. But they think Chris Brown's a better dancer than Michael Jackson. I think that's hard to compare because there's 2 different styles. People weren't fainting over Chris Brown, but I know. But it's the conversation, like, because there's so much. There's this person, this person, this person, this person, that opinion, that opinion, that opinion, that opinion, right? On podcasts, on TV shows, on YouTube. It's so easy for them to just not know. While for us, because we didn't get our information and history and stuff through live time until 13, 14, like all that age, we were forced to be like, all right, whatever's on MTV, and this is going to make me also sound young, whatever's on MTV, whatever's on VH1, they play just random music videos. They'll go from hip hop to classic to Michael Jackson. They'll go from Beat It to Mary J. Blige, or they go from Mary J. Blige to Journey. It was just a random flow of music, right? Yeah. And this music is just the surface of the conversation, but it's the understanding that you're allowed to know a broader group, right? If Sweet Caroline plays in an arena, that's probably the only reason this generation would know the song, right? What they don't know is Sweet Caroline plays everywhere. So it's just because there's so much information, it's like, it's almost as if they don't know. They know so much about what's happening right now, but they don't know what happened before right now because that's not interesting. And it's not because they don't think it's interesting. They don't know it's interesting because social media is only trying to keep the competition going, right? Trying to be the next level, trying to always have the on-time news, right? The way TMZ chases stories is the way that now everything chases information. Yeah. Whether, and we had this conversation, whether it's true or not. But that video was so disappointing.
Powerful.
It was so disappointing. I watched it and I was like, 4 kids? The song came out in 2007. So the freshman would have been 3 years old. But here's the thing about We Fly High, the song, right? It's one of those songs, like you're gonna laugh that I put it in with Sweet Caroline, but when they put it on, everybody just knows that one part. You know what I mean? Like it's something that's like what makes the fun happen at the event, right? And so the fact that, and we used to listen to it as pregame, so that's hilarious. But they just don't know because they don't know to know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what happens next.
Yeah. I think this bringing awareness to it. I mean, social media is so powerful right now that the algorithms are impacting what you think, what you see, and so on. By your behaviors. I mean, so I mean, I watch America's Got Talent all the
time. Yeah, no one watches that anymore.
Right. But I get it because I see.
So here's the thing: who watches live TV anymore?
Right.
We got Hulu. We got what is it? The one Fubu. We got Netflix. We got HBO Max. We have all Peacock. We have all these platforms that you could just. They don't even. I don't even know if these shows air live on TV because I don't have to watch them anymore or else I'll miss them.
Okay.
They're always there. The moment something airs, if it's not on Hulu, it's on HBO Max. If it's on HBO Max, it's on Peacock. And if all fails, it's illegally on YouTube. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's like, God, like, I'm sure it's so hard to create something in today's society. Because it's like, one, how do you make money off it? Like, I haven't gone to see Avatar yet because I know a month or so it's gonna be on.
You need 2 days.
I can buy it soon, right? Like, so it's, you know, did COVID affect all this? Maybe. COVID made everything so easily accessible into our homes. But I think my biggest thing and my thoughts are, where does the algorithm stop? Does it stay within the social media, news, and digital society, or do we struggle to deal with the fact that reality and real world is not algorithmed, right? Like, racism exists, arguments exist, real news exists, like, things are happening out in the real world, whether you like it or not. And you'll be put in a position like this where they ask you to finish the lyrics, right? Or something like that, and you don't know. Like, reality isn't algorithmed.
Who's more susceptible to allowing that to impact their thinking?
Well, the Generation Z is the only, or like the younger version, the ones who are in college now and down, and they've been in a society. The moment they opened their eyes, social media has existed. Mm-hmm. They've never lived in a world without social media. Imagine that. Imagine, like, think about this. I know this sounds so crazy, but how did we know what was going on in people's lives before Facebook?
I know.
But now if we took all that away, we'd be like, oh my goodness, I feel so isolated. I feel so unaware of what's going on. Like, you got to actually pick up the phone and call people and be like, hey, how many kids does so-and-so have now? Oh, look, how many Christmas cards do people get anymore? Because they don't have to. They post a Christmas card on social media.
Right.
So it's that's a crazy world to grow up in. Because they have so much visibility and quantity towards everything. And because of that, the algorithm said, whoop,
it's powerful. Because I find myself, I mean, I really didn't know, wasn't really aware of that until our conversation. And then now I can see my example of what's on my social media. So,
yeah, you know what's going on. And probably if you saw my timeline and I looked at your timeline, you'd be like, holy heck. I didn't even know that was happening. I didn't even know we had footage of the president that way. I didn't even know, you know what I mean? Like, everything is so accessible. Originally, when a president was in office, the only video footage we saw of them in events, walking around, was on what? Was on TV. Was on CNN. It was on Fox News. It was like, oh my God, it's a unicorn. Now, we have footage of Joe Biden walking with his family in the hand with a dog. We have footage of when Joe Biden fell off his bike. We have access towards everything about everyone. It's all over. But here's the thing. You didn't ever see that. You probably saw the Joe Biden bike fall after I told you to go look for the Joe Biden bike fall. Because why would your algorithm show that to you? It's so funny that our where we get information, think about this, where we get information is censored to what we want to see. Is that good for us? Probably not. Because thank goodness that half of my life was pre-social media. So I at least have some understanding that there's more beyond the bubble that's presented in front of me. But oh my goodness, like there's more. There's more.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. Here's another thing is, we had this conversation. When kids are setting their goals and their dreams and their plans for next year, 10 years, 20 years, how is it even possible that they're reaching their full potential in planning and dreaming if they don't even know beyond what's placed in front of them on a daily? Yeah. Their bubble. That's interesting because it's not their fault. If we take social media from them, they're gonna freaking fall over and it's not bad, right? That's how we get our news. But it's because they're like, oh my goodness, how do I find information? Well, just so you know, we knew it was a snow day by watching the TV and watching the ticker under the news thing. Okay, no school in District 202. Got it. Now that school has an Instagram page that posted.
Yeah.
Has a Facebook page that posted. It's a different world. And we have this, it's just trying to figure out where does the algorithm stop and where does the algorithm continue in real world? And how do you not allow that to affect your long-term thought process and plans for your life? Who you hang out with, what jobs you take, what cities you live in. Like, it's a thing. So, no, we had that conversation. We thought it was really interesting. I'm so glad I got to share that video citing Harvard football TikTok. That's who posted it on TikTok, Facebook. Just letting you guys know. So we're going to cite that also in our comments. But it's just that video. I watched it 4 times and I was like, 4 kids. And you know what also is disappointing? One of the kids started remixing the song into his own song and still was offbeat, not on tempo. And like the song it was just kind of like, oh my gosh, you look so silly. You look so silly. And now I'm worried because I think I want to send it to my brother and see, Devin, you know this song? And he'd be like, yeah. But his dad is 60 plus, right? He was raised in a world where Devin knows that Devin has visibility to Earth, Wind, and Fire, the Zach Brown Band, Michael Jackson.
Devin has visibility to Sam Cooke.
He's so like well versed, and that's because at the end of the day, and maybe it's easier for younger kids who grew up with people who exposed them with that stuff early.
Yeah, I think
but that just reminds you how important it is to be able to teach difference in history and just things that just wouldn't be on their social media on a daily. So again, thank you everyone for joining us today on Faith Family Focus. We want to use our platform to heal. I'm blanking on our thing, but it's just a long one. But it is. We want to use our vehicle here. Our platform here at Faith Family Focus to help use our stories of adversity to help others and sustain the family core. And of course, our slogan.
Let go, let God, let go, let faith, let go, let love.
Everyone have a wonderful week, and we'll see you soon.